Tell me what good mental health means to you.
Good mental health. I think good mental health is just kind of being at the same level as everybody else. Because when you do have like a mental health, like say if you have depression or anxiety, it kind of brings you down to a lower level compared to your peers or everyone else around you. So to me, good mental health is literally just being at the stable level. Like, you don't have to be super happy, you just have to be at the kind of functional level.
Tell me about the issues you've experienced with your mental health.
Freaking hell, I've had loads, mate. So, like, I think the issues I usually get, like, symptom-wise, I think I get, like, pretty full-on anxiety. So, like, say, because I'm on medication now, but say if someone were to, like, bump into me, or I was, like, walking down a corridor, my eyes would be watering, like, I'd be on the verge of tears just walking somewhere, because I'd be so, like, acutely aware of everything going on around me. But, yeah, that's kind of the main issues I get.
Tell me about how having this difficulty makes you feel.
With the anxiety stuff, obviously, because you're so hyper, like, I think you're so hyper aware all the time that you kind of get so tired and bogged down, and you can kind of work yourself down like because you're thinking like non-stop. I think anxiety is like a gateway into depression, because you kind of go down this spiral of worse and worse thoughts that kind of get you in this really crappy place. So
Tell me about when you first knew you had the problem and how you tried to manage it.
So when I first knew I had the problem, I think I was very young. So we noticed it very early on. And we went through kind of like the regular kind of like child mental health system. So obviously I went through CAMS and we tried to do that, but usually a lot of the time those places don't really take you seriously until you're a lot older. So I feel like I suffered a lot unnecessarily, because basically those like CAMS and things, they just kind of wouldn't listen until I'd actually hit 18, and then they finally have to do something about it.
Tell me about when you decided to speak up to someone about your problem and what happened.
I didn't really speak up, people just kind of noticed. So I can't really answer that question, because it was just, I mean, a lot of the times when you have a problem, you don't really recognise that you have the problem, you just recognise symptoms. So you kind of have to vaguely describe what you're going through to people and hope that someone knows what's going on. So,
what help and support did you receive?
Obviously I had the CAMS, and then I think my doctors referred me to like this St John's place in Warrington, where I got like talking counselling. And then I'm trying to think of what else. Oh yeah, I used to have a lady in high school who basically I'd have a meeting with her like once every week, and she'd sort out any like minor little difficulties. I had to try and reduce how scared I was of everything. But yeah, that's kind of all the support.
Any tips or advice you would give to someone if they told you that they are struggling with their mental health?
Obviously outside of, because obviously sometimes with mental health it is genuinely you just kind of need to like look after yourself a bit. But if someone is at that level where, you know, kind of they went through what I went through, like where you've tried everything, like you've fixed your sleeping, you've fixed your, like, you try and exercise more and nothing fixes it and you feel so stuck. I feel like it's an unpopular one, but I'd recommend medication, because it does change like everything for you, I think.
What is your opinion on the stigma of mental health?
Bollocks, to be fair. I just think it's all a load. Like, people are just so, I don't know, like, the stigma of mental health. It is, you know what, it is strange, because I always thought, like, I'm the type of person who doesn't really give one about other people or what they think or whatever, like it's just like sod off. But then there are times that I won't lie, like when I go to pick up my medication at the doctor's and then like I'm in like a hoodie and I just feel like that stereotypical like teenager, like, oh, I go through so much. And there are times when I do feel a bit like embarrassed, or the woman at the counter will give me like a weird voice, like, oh, you're here to pick up your medication, as if I'm some sort of like deviant or something for coming to get my bloody tablets. But yeah, obviously I don't really agree with the stigma stuff.
How do you manage your own mental health?
My own mental health, I think naturally you suffer so much where you get to the point where you're like, your level of kind of suffering is like, it's kind of like pain tolerance. So you go through so much where your level where something actually bothers you just gets a lot higher naturally. So like it takes a lot more to actually get you kind of to affect you in any way. And then obviously for me it's just trying to take the medication because it's like a massive game changer. But I think as long as obviously staying healthy is going to help no matter what. So, you know.
Are you aware of the 5 steps of mental health?
Absolutely not. I do not. I've never heard of them before.
Do you think education does enough to promote mental health support and guidance?
Yeah, I think it really does try. Obviously, sometimes they do a right shoddy job at it, like when they brought a meditation guru in at high school and got us to all pretend we were trees. But I think education is quite an open place for it, but you do get your weird, like your bad eggs and your strange people who aren't really that helpful. But yeah.
How does it affect us mentally and physically?
Mental health, it makes me dead like before I was on my medication I used to get dead physically tired all the time. Like I'd just come home and pass out, because just a regular day that would be like just a normal every day to someone. For me it was like it took everything out of me just to like to just do the most minor things. So physically it was like a bloody pain.
Do you feel overwhelmed with your coursework?
I did feel a bit overwhelmed, and I think for some reason I've kind of got like a natural knack for coursework. Like I'm quite good at coursework as opposed to exams. So even though I was kind of a bit overwhelmed with it, I got it in the bud quite easy.
What would you say to someone who is experiencing mental health problems but is uncomfortable about speaking to someone about it?
Obviously, when you're 18 or when I think it might be when you're 16, I'm not sure, you can go and, get it checked out yourself, which is obviously, good if you don't want to talk to it about anyone. But I don't think there's any reason that you should be uncomfortable. I mean, it's just kind of whatever, like, you'd rather be treated for it than untreated, and, people noticing that, if you get what I mean, I don't know. Like, you'd rather people notice, okay, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but...
How do you cope with stress and anxiety in your daily life?
I don't really have a good answer for this one, because it is just medication and just, I suppose, getting used to it, I think, yeah.
How do you think mental health care can be made more accessible?
More accessible? Well, I think, obviously, there's, like, a massive problem where, like, you should listen to younger people when they are like in my case, if doctors and stuff would have listened to me when I was younger, I would have avoided loads of, like, agony. But then also there's the case of, like, you don't want to take younger people too seriously, because what if they're, like, getting it wrong or something like that. So I think that's, like, quite a difficult one to sort out. But I don't know, I'd say it just the doctors themselves and the chemists themselves need to not have a stigma around it, because that does happen. Like the people at the chemists, like they'll give me like a weird look, or they'll say something like, ugh. But yeah, I think that's just kind of, yeah.
How do you think we can promote self-care and prioritise mental health in our daily lives?
It's kind of hard to, especially when you're in college. Oh my god, and if you had a job it would be way harder, because you kind of don't really have the time to like pamper yourself or anything. And you have to get into a routine with it, and like, because there have been moments in time where like I've just read loads of books and made myself a lovely tea and I've been so relaxed, but then that all falls apart within like 2 days. So it is really hard to do self-care and stuff, but I mean, just be lenient with yourself and like give yourself breaks, and yeah.
Do you think pets play a role in supporting mental health?
I know they do, because there are studies that show that like petting a dog releases chemicals. So yeah, I think pets do. That's a pretty simple one.
Do you know of any support groups to do with mental health?
Support groups, I'm not sure if CAMS is one. I know about TAGS, which I went there for 2 days, made no friends and then quit. But yeah, that's the only ones I can think of.
What has been the most helpful resource in managing your mental health?
God, I'm going to say it for the 50th time. Pills, medication, definitely.
Is there anything you wish people understood better about mental health?
There's a couple different things, I suppose. Like, I suppose to just, I mean, not really. I mean, obviously, like, you want people to be able to lay off you when you actually think, like, when you're really feeling it. Like, you kind of just want people to buzz off. But, and then you always get them people who kind of think you're kind of like milking it all the time or whatever. But I used to hate that, because like I used to hate it when people would treat me differently, because like I wish they'd just kind of let me figure it out myself and get myself to feel better, and then just kind of, like, I don't know. Yeah. It's a hard one, that one.
What do you think could be done better for people with mental health issues?
Probably a lot, to be fair. But I think that there are probably a lot of problems, but I'm just not very clued up on all the issues. Because obviously, since I've been on my medication, I've been like, I've not really been in that whole world. But there are definitely like CAMS, for one, is supposedly, and I've heard it from loads of different people, CAMS is like awful, and I know that for sure, because they were quite bad with me as well. And you just always hear people complain about CAMS, but yeah, there are definitely things that need revising.
Did COVID play a part in your mental health?
COVID boosted my mental health so well, especially when you're anxious. You don't have to deal with anyone, you just get to sit in. But I think there was a point where I was just so bored that I was like, Jesus Christ, like I just want to escape.
Tell me what you think the biggest cause of mental health is.
For me, I think it's like just was something I was born with, which I think people seem to forget that's like a thing that can happen. Like, because I tried everything to make myself better before, and just nothing worked. And I think that's my lowest point was when I had tried everything and I'd done all these steps that they were telling me, and I'd done the counselling, and nothing was working, and I literally felt doomed. Because my dad had like really bad mental health problems as well. His were a lot more like severe than mine. Like I think he might have been schizophrenic or something. But yeah, like I think for me it's definitely just something I was kind of born with. Because obviously when I am on the tablets, I'm completely like, I'm such like a sociable, like easygoing person. So.
Do you know what support is available to you outside of college?
There's there's always counselling and things, but I think I'm kind of at the stage where right now I'm like okay without it, and maybe in the future I'll pick it up, but yeah.
Do you know how to access mental health services?
Kind of, very vaguely, but I'd be reluctant to. If I can just kind of survive on my own, obviously I will. I totally will. But yeah, vaguely,